Hey, so you want to be a billionaire? What are some of the traits that billionaires have in common? Now, this is not a show on how to be a billionaire, but it's kind of, I guess, because, what are some of the traits that billionaires have in common? Um, I know a few billionaires and I roll with a lot of people who are very successful on all levels. I'm not a billionaire, but I definitely, and I like to read. I'm reading Michael Bloomberg's autobiography or his unauthorized autobiography now. So billionaires and Americans particularly, we have an obsession with billionaires. Like they're Jesus Christ, they're the best, all this stuff. And so what are some of the traits that billionaires have? Now, if you hear people who are not billionaires, like everyday regular people, they'll be like, all you gotta do is work hard, right? All you gotta do is work hard. Okay, no, that's fucking stupid. It's not only that. You just work hard. There's billions of people on this planet, and most of them work really, really hard, actually. So it's not just work hard. Just be smart. Hey, go to school, be smart. Also, no, most billionaires are not. Actually, all billionaires, and I know a few of them, all billionaires are not the smartest and they're not the hardest working. They'll tell you that. So it's not so simple. Just work hard, go to school. That's fucking stupid. Okay. Now, yes, if you want to be a billionaire or any kind of level of success, obviously you have to have some level of intelligence. You can't be like, mentally handicapped, and you have to have some level of hard work, but it's not all you got to do is hard work and be smart. No, it's not so simple. So let's break it down, the characteristics of a billionaire, okay? So yes, let's start off with that. Of course, you have to have some intelligence. Average intelligence will be fine. Honestly, if you have a fifth grade intelligence, you're good. Work ethic. Of course, you have to work hard. You can't be like, I'm just going to chill out and vape and eat the crap food and just chill out and play video games and chilling and more chilling. Not going to work out there, sweetie. So you have to have, yes. And by the way, none of these by themselves is the silver bullet, but what we're going to go through, put them all together, and you have the traits of a billionaire. Doesn't mean that you or I will achieve billionaire status, but these are the traits. And obviously, there's always an element of luck. Let's be honest, but that's also not. You can't say, "Oh, they're just lucky." That's also stupid, So it's not just luck. I mean, they didn't just you'll wake up one day and be like, I'll snap my fingers on a billionaire. If that's the case, then you know what I mean. So, or they were born into a billionaire family. Yeah, people are born into a billionaire family, and yes, that could make them a billionaire. But most billionaires are not born into a billionaire family. Michael Bloomberg, like I said, I'm reading his biography, not born into a billionaire family. Warren Buffett, not born into a billionaire family. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, not born into a billionaire family. One of the most well-known and probably one of the richest families on earth, Sam Walton, who has passed away, but he invented Walmart, not born into a billionaire family. Now, his kids are, but he was not. So we can go on and on. I mean, the former CEO of Apple, right? I always forget his name, but anyways, you know who I'm talking about, not the CEO, but Steve Jobs, not born into a billionaire family. One of the most famous billionaires, Microsoft's fame, is Bill Gates, not born into a billionaire family. So we can go on and on and on. But most billionaires are not. And the billionaires that I know also not born into a billionaire family. So stop with that defeatist negative mentality. It's a loser mentality when you're like, they're all born into it. No, some are, most aren't. Okay, so traits. Well, we can start off with, like I said, yes, you have to have some level of hard work, meaning you have to be willing to and want to work 7 days a week, period, 10, 15-hour days for many, 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 many years. I understand. You know someone that became a billionaire by just working a half hour a day. Now they're a bazillionaire. Got that. In reality, it's not how it works. You have to work probably 6 to 7 days a week. I'm a big fan of taking one day off. I think that helps. But anyways, so you have to be willing to work 7 days a week, 15-hour days. You have to. And even though somebody else became a billionaire easier than you, well, doesn't matter. Don't look at anybody else. Billionaires just focus on them. That's another trait. So billionaires don't play the victim role. Poor me, I didn't have that advantage. Loser. Billionaires don't think like that. Billionaires think the odds are against me. I love it. I need it. I want it. That's what billionaires think. They love when the odds are against them. Billionaires want that. They need that. Pressure makes diamonds. Billionaires don't want anybody giving them shit. They want to fight for it. They want the odds to be stacked against them. Billionaires get off on that. They love that. So that's a winner mentality. And you got to have that mentality to be a billionaire or even a millionaire. Okay, so we have the hard work. We have some level of intelligence. We have some level of hard work. You have to not have a victim mentality. You have to cannot think you're entitled to anything. I went to Harvard. I'm entitled to. No, nope, no, 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 no. Billionaires do not have an entitlement mentality. Again, they might be entitled once they're a billionaire, but to get to the billionaire status, they don't have an entitlement mentality. Again, same thing with most millionaires. Okay, so, and by the way, you can have a lot of these traits and not be a millionaire or billionaire and be very successful. I know people who make 60,000 a year only, and they have no debt. They're very happy. They're very successful. So, you can, this is another topic, but success is not only about money. I would make the argument it's not only about money, but we're talking about billionaires. Okay. So you have to have the hard work. You have to have, some level of intelligence, some level of hard work. You can't be a victim mentality. Let's be honest. You have to have some level of luck. I mean, if you unfortunately are born to the wrong woman and you come out of somebody and you live in, you just got the shit end of the stick and you were born in Calcutta, India, you're basically fucked. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a caste system there. You can't work your way out of that. So you're kind of screwed. So luck does play a major role, right? You can't be born with half a brain, no hands, no arms, no tongue, no, you know what I mean? You got to be a healthy living person. That being said, if you're born in America and you're healthy, then you already have a leg up on 6 billion other people that you could potentially, you have the odds, in your favor. So luck, it does help to be born in America or born in certain parts of Europe or born in certain parts of Asia. That you can't do anything about. But once you're here, most Americans love to complain. You're standing on American soil. You already have the seeds to potentially be a billionaire. It's up to you, or be a millionaire, or do very successful for yourself. Okay, so luck does matter. Let's be honest. It's not everything, but it matters. So we have IQ, emotional quotient. Again, not being an immature baby. Poor me. You owe me. No, you have to have a relatively high EQ. Okay. Tenacity. If there is any one thing that all billionaires have in common, and if there's any one thing that could make you a billionaire, if there is a silver bullet, it would be this one: tenacity. Billionaires don't fucking quit. That's it. They love what they do. And that's another thing we're going to talk about, loving what you do. They're tenacious like cancer. Like they just don't stop. Doesn't matter if it takes them a year, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, they're not going to stop. Tenacity. That's good for anything, honestly. So the other thing is actually all the billionaires out there who became billionaires on their own, own meaning obviously they had a team behind them. No man, no woman's an island, but all the billionaires say the same thing. They never wanted to be a billionaire. So if you're trying to be a billionaire, you're probably going to fail. So if you talk to or read any biography, I'm reading, like I said, Mike Bloomberg's biography now, he never had an intention to be a billionaire. His thing was he loved what he does. He loved what he did. And you work hard and you work smart and you network and you do all these things and you're tenacious and just happens to make money. You know what I mean? So if they happen to be into something else, they would have not maybe been a billionaire, but maybe been a millionaire. You know what I mean? So it's not that they're not trying to be a billionaire. They're just trying to do the best they can do. And that happens to make money. You know what I mean? If somebody happens to have a love for medicine and they want to be a neurosurgeon, well, they're not trying to be wealthy. It's just they love medicine and that happens to pay a lot. So billionaires are not trying to be billionaires. If you're doing that, you're probably going to lose. Okay. So tenacity is big. Discipline. They're able to put off, delay gratification. I think a lot of times people in America, it's like, I'm just going to take the easy way out. I want to start making money now. You didn't even finish college. You're going to quit college. You're going to quit, your dream. You're going to go for the easy money. If you can delay gratification for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, put that cookie away, put the beer away, put the vapor away, put the television away, and really kind of drill down on what you want to do, that delayed gratification, that discipline. They have high levels of discipline, high tenacity rates, humility. They don't walk around like they're hot shit while they're getting to be a billionaire. Once they become a billionaire, maybe a different story. But having a humble nature, like, hey, I don't know everything. Bill Gates famously says that he hires the smartest people, that he's not the smartest person. And billionaires will tell you that. They're not the smartest people in the world. They're not the smartest people in the country. They're not the smartest people in the county. They're not the smartest people in the state. They're not the smartest people in the room. But they're humble enough to hire others. So humility is big. The love of the job. Now, if you don't love your job, then at least like it a lot, because you're going to be doing it 7 days a week for decades. So you can't just do something just to have money. That's going to be the kiss of death, no matter what, but particularly being a billionaire. You have to love it. You have to love it. So, Sam Walton, Walmart, Jeff Bezos, Mike Bloomberg, they love what they do, and it's not about the money, which is ironic because it made them a lot of money, but it wasn't about the money. It was about, I want to do this. You know what I mean? And by the way, you can make billions doing anything. I mean, look at literally anything. You could be making pizzas and be a billionaire. Plenty of people that have major, huge pizza companies. You can be like, I want to lay concrete onto the ground. Plenty of people have billionaire companies doing that. I want to be a lawyer that makes billions. Plenty of lawyers. You have many lawyers who are billionaires. I just got done reading Starbucks, the former CEO, the quote unquote inventor of Starbucks. He purchased the first Starbucks, but I forgot his name. It slips me now. But anyways, he just loved coffee. He was born and raised very poor in New York City, but he just loved coffee, loved it, and followed that passion. Then also read books and studied on business and wanted to expand, and his love of it just expanded. But he had trust in people, so you have to be humble and trust people. And yes, you're going to get burnt, you're going to get stepped on, and that's the other quality, that they have trust in people, but they can take on great amounts of embarrassment and hardship and heartache and pain. It doesn't bother them to fail. They embrace failure. That's another trait of a billionaire. They don't mind. If they get burnt, they'll sue somebody, they'll fight back, but they're not going to give up and not trust people. You have to be able to trust people and put people in positions. If you're the type that's like, only I could do a great job, that's small person mentality, and you'll be okay. I know people who have mom and pop businesses, but they never get out of the mom and pop level because they don't trust anybody. Well, then you're only going to make X amount of dollars. To be in a billionaire status, you got to trust others. You have to have a team around you. Period. End of discussion. I don't care who you are. What else? So they love risk. They love calculated risk. They don't take stupid risks, but they're not afraid to lose many, 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 many times. They're not afraid to be embarrassed over and over and over and over and over. So they have this almost a very thick skin. They're independent if they need to be. You have to have a team, but they also don't give a shit what anybody says. Oh, that's never going to make, oh, you're a loser. What are you doing? Oh, don't give up on that. Get a real job. Nah, I'm going to keep on grinding because I believe in this. So they're willing to put 10 years of work in, 20 years of work in, and get very little back for the 21st year of hitting it or gradually getting there. Expanding. So for instance, you have famous Papa John's pizza, right? It's pizza. I know a bazillion people who make pizza, but they're not billionaires. Why is Papa John a billionaire? Well, he was able to scale. He's a student of business. It's not just making a decent pie, because there's a lot of pies out there that are better, but how do you expand the business? So billionaires are students of the business world. They thirst for knowledge of not just what they do, but how to expand that. So you can make the best pizza in the world, but be middle class. And you can make an average pizza, but be a billionaire. Now, that's subjective. Some people think Papa John's is the best pizza in the world. God bless. But my point is, same thing with Starbucks and Walmart and Target and Amazon. These men and women are thinking, how can I expand? Now they're not thinking about, let me be a billionaire, but they're just thinking like, how can I spread my awesome idea to others? So like that. So they have a love of that, and they feel like this is their calling, and it's almost like a religious experience. Like, I want to tell everybody about what I do, and I want to share it with everybody. Everyone has to taste my hamburger, my whatever, automobile, my whatever. So, but they're willing to put that grinding work in. They're willing to say, I'm not going to go out to the dance club. I'm not going to go watch television. I'm not playing video games. I'm willing to die for this, because I love this, and so that's important that you have that love for what you're doing. What else? So we did that, right? Delayed gratification, independent thinking. They like to network with people. So, rubbing shoulders. They're typically people persons. So they like to, join organizations and network and fraternities and sororities as an adult, or just ask questions and be interactive with people that are strangers and make small talk, and you just don't know where it goes, So typically that's a telltale sign of someone who's a billionaire, for the most part. So we get the hard work. They have no problem failing. And they see failure as an opportunity to learn. Trust, love of the job, humility, discipline, tenacity, EQ, IQ, luck. I don't know. Tell me what you think. And again, this also pertains to really anybody who's successful in life in general, money or not, but particularly with money, yes. And again, if you're in America, you have a chance to really better yourself. And if you're in a financial problem, you can get out of it too in America. But so these are some of the traits of billionaires. I don't know, folks. Tell me what you think. Okay. I'm out of here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye.